welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a quick hot air balloon. So we've got our Dollar Tree canvas, our plastic bag, we've got a couple of colors of paint. We've got this blue, a white for clouds, yellow, and a brown, and then a couple of brushes, and we now, and a plastic baggie. So, and our paper plate for palette. So we are now offering a jot form so that you can get your canvases from the Faulkner County Van Buren Library System, and we can have packets ready for you. They'll come with a paintbrush and a canvas so that you can paint along with us. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my blue paint out. We're just going to paint all over it. Make our sky nice and blue. You are welcome to do as many layers of this as you want. I only did one. It does end up kind of like sketchy looking where you can like see the brush strokes in the back, but I didn't mind that because I knew that this was going to be kind of a painterly project. So now we're done by the magic of television. So we're going to take our plastic baggie and we're just going to put our fingers here and like create like a little pincher grip there. That way we create some nice spots, and we're just going to find a place where we want a cloud, and I want mine right here, and create kind of like a wide triangle. And it makes this really, really quick and easy cloud that I think looks pretty realistic for what we're doing. So I think it looks really nice, and you could use this on anything really. I mean, you could make it other colors. You could make a sunset like this. It'd be really fun to make a sunset like this. A sunset with lots of clouds. Anyway, so we're just going to quickly do that. And I do have mine sped up a little bit so that our video isn't quite as long. That way you guys can get right into painting when you guys see this. So we're just going to tap them up top. I put 3 big clouds and then 1 little sparse cloud. And I didn't put any over on the right side of my page because I knew that I was going to put my hot air balloon there. You can put your hot air balloon anywhere on the page you want, but if you're following along with this one, which I kind of like the way it looks, you can put it in the same place that mine is. So we're just going to continue tapping until we're happy with our clouds. Then once you're done, you can turn it inside out, and then it won't be a mess. So now we're going to take our yellow. Mine was kind of a baby yellow and a little bit of brown. We didn't need the brown right away, but I thought it was going to dry a little bit faster than it did. So we're just going to mark the basic outline of where we want it. So I want mine to be a half of a balloon. So I'm going to do it, and I don't think that balloon is quite big enough, so I'm just going to go around to where I think it should be, and then fill it in. So as I was saying, when you can register to get these the canvas and a paintbrush to paint along with us if you don't have this stuff at home, and if you do that, it helps us keep track of our numbers. So we're just going to continue painting, and we'll have that jot form down in the down in the description box. Oh my goodness, I can't talk today. All right. So we're just going to fill it in, and you'll see that it looks kind of streaky. Yellows have this tendency to not cover up darker colors. You could do like a layer of white first if you really wanted to, but I just waited overnight until it dried. Came back the next day and started painting over top. Notice that with this second coat, you can definitely tell that that is yellow. So I would recommend waiting until it dries and just doing 2 coats of yellow. And get it as close to the edge as you can. My edges are pretty thick, so I didn't need to go over those a whole lot. We're just continuing to fill in our yellow. This time we do need the brown, so that we can create some shadows on our hot air balloon. And I am nearly done filling in. Again, this is sped up, so I don't really paint this fast. So we're going to make a little circle at the top. We're going to be very careful and just kind of plan out where we want our separations on the balloon to be. And we're going to make this kind of like a shadow. We don't want these to be really harsh lines, so we want to kind of blend them out. So we're just going to mark down there and just connect our lines there, make one nice long line. And we're wanting this to be kind of 3D. So we're just coming in and we're smoothing out those lines. This brown is meant to be a shadow for where the seams are in the hot air balloon. Take it up top because it is kind of a puffy spot, so I'm just blending out those colors. So that yellow was still wet when I started working with the brown. So we're just mixing some of that in. It kind of gives it an aged yellow look. It was already a really pale yellow, but now it kind of looks like a vintage hot air balloon, which I kind of like. So we're just going to go along the edge here. Be really careful around your edges. Some of your spots are dry still, like mine were, and those blend a little bit differently than the other spots. So I'd just be really careful when you're bumping your brush up against that dry spot. See how it's a different color there than the rest of them are? How it's more of like a burnt sienna instead of a really pale coffee color. Just add some yellow into it and it'll turn back into that coffee color. And if ever you think that you got it too dark, just go in with some of your yellow and thin it out a little bit. Right here I'm trying to kind of make that crease a little bit more defined. And give it a little bit more shape. Didn't need that harsh line. Now I'm just going in and making the bottom hole of our air balloon. I'm going to go back in with some white to kind of give some highlight to the top of our balloon as well. My paint was still a little wet, so it didn't really want to like stand out as much as I thought it should. So I will go back towards the end of this and redo my highlights because I want them to be a little bit poppier. Just taking my paper towel and wiping off some paint. I'm going to try to darken that up now that it's had a second to dry. Next I'm taking, after that, I'm taking a toothpick and going to make our strings that attach our basket to our hot air balloon. And I'm just going real slow and careful. I do have this sped up. So this is 2 times the normal speed, so I'm going really slow when I'm doing these. Then I painted a little basket. Not a whole lot of the basket, just a little bitty, tiny hint of it. And next, I decided that my hot air balloon wasn't quite finished, so I got one of the smaller brushes that I have just laying around from my watercolor, and decided to give it some decoration. So I'm going in with purple because purple and yellow are complementary colors, and I think they look really nice together because they're complementary, which means that they're opposite on the side. They're opposites on the color wheel. So it's really going to make that purple look purpler and that yellow look even more yellow. So I thought just some dangly decorations, because I do plan to put this in my daughter's room. So I thought some tassels or some pom-poms. And I went with pom-poms first, but I decided that they weren't really decorative enough. So I did go in with a toothpick after this, because I just don't think that it's enough for me. Just not enough. So I'm going to take that and just very, very carefully just scratch in. Well, I say scratch in. I'll just paint in some tiny tassels, and it's going to take a lot of dipping. They only last, those tassels aren't very big at all, and they only last for a hot second once you dipped them. You can see how much I'm dipping. I'm dipping once or twice every single tassel. It is quite the chore, but I think it's well worth it because I think the tassels really, really make this stand out. And you'll notice from like the beginning of the video to now, I put a piece of paper underneath it so that I wouldn't get my desk area dirty. Feel free to protect your desk area so that you are not getting paint everywhere, because acrylic paint, once it dries, does not come out. If you do get paint on yourself or your clothes, be sure to wash it immediately, because it is water soluble as long as it is wet. But once it's dry, it is not going anywhere. And I am nearly done with my tassels now. So another way to do the tassels, and I'm also using the toothpick to touch up some spots that are just hard to get to with that other brush, just because it's kind of a flimsy brush. But another way is to take that one and like flatten it out with your fingers, and then you can use that really flat edge to kind of stamp your tassels if you would rather do it that way instead of with a toothpick. That's another way that you can do this. You can also, like I said, it requires very little paint, and you just gotta squish that brush all the way flat. If you look closely, you can see just how flat I have it. And I'm extra, so I decided that my tassels needed some extra, and I thought that some little white polka dots would be fun. So we're doing some white polka dots. And I got done with that, and I was like, let's put some more polka dots. So we did even more polka dots. And I really like the way that the extra polka dots look, just because it gives it a little bit more detail, a little bit more interest. So as we are nearing the end of this, you can see what I'm doing still, but you'll notice that you can leave this just as is, or the side where the open sky is also a perfect place to put an inspirational quote, or just or a Bible verse, or anything like that that you really like, that you would really like to look at every day, or for a family member that they really like, or anything like that. And so over in the sky area would be a really, really awesome place. And right now I'm just going to kind of touch up some of my lines up there. That's what I'm doing. Not that you can see it. I got out of frame. But that's actually what I ended up doing with mine, is putting a quote on it so that I could hang it up in my little girl's room. I'm just putting in some more highlights. Once that, you can see how much better that white pops on it when it's dry. But we are nearly done with our hot air balloon. Again, the Faulkner County Library is providing a small kit that includes a canvas and a paintbrush so that you guys can paint along at home with us. You would just need to fill out the jot form in the description box below. In the description box, I will also have all the products that we used. So, there we go. That's our finished hot air balloon. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you guys stay safe. And we'll see you back next week for another paint along.